I'm trying to figure out the best camera placement. Being outside and the sun's like right above me.
Yep. Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to say hi to who all we got in here. Patty G was on a field trip with her grandsons, was going to try to stop in. I hope she has a good time with the grandkids. And Brenda is on here. Um, that's all we got right now. We have two people watching. I don't know who.
Nobody likes me.
Oh, they'll be here. They'll see it pop up and come on in. I always just kind of rattle off a little bit until several get in before I get into the subject much. But so we'll wait just a minute. And call Brenda after to the subject much. But
okay,
so we'll
hold
wait
on.
just a minute.
Let me mute that.
Now, can you see the chat now?
Well, I popped over to the YouTube and it does not look good at all. So I'm just going to stay on StreamYard for me if it's blotchy or whatever. Because I don't know if running more than one thing on my computer will make it super glitchy.
Okay. Yeah, you're a little bit blurry. Not too bad, but a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Shelly. There's Shelly on the Pine Tree Hill. And yeah, this is Amanda at Albany Mountain Homestead. We're going to wait just a few minutes, talk about something else for a couple minutes until a few come in before we get into this. I have a list, but my list is really mostly for tomorrow night. I was just kind of looking over it. Next week, we're going to have Nancy from Our Treasured Home on here. And what else? I'm going to try to do, I've had several people wanting us to do evening primrose. I have evening primrose growing wild here, and I have used it, made an oil out of it. But this year it died out early. I don't know what happened. I think we had a cold night and it died out. I didn't get a video made, but I've had several people wanting to see it. So I may go ahead and do that and just use pictures off the computer because mine has died out already. And I don't understand that. It's never done that early before, but I think we had a cold night or two unexpectedly and it just died right on out before I could get a video done.
Well, we've had temps down in the 40s, like 40. So a lot of my plants are starting to kind of die back, depending on which one. I don't know much about primrose, if it's more of like a short leafy plant or if it's got, a thick stem bush kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a tall weed.
Okay.
The evening primrose is kind of a tall weed. It grows wild here. Okay. I discovered it a couple of years ago, and it's good for hormones and stuff. So I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got Boots and Bounty in here now, and Shelly, Christy Betts, Julie from Heaven's Essentials. And there's Kathy from Living Miracle Homestead. Kathy said, what died? My evening primrose had died out, and I was going to do a video on it, and we had a couple of cool nights, and it just started dying back. So I didn't do the video, but I've had several people wanting to see it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of do a little something on it, but I'll just have to use stock photos or something, Huga Homestead is in here. Okay, several rolling on in. We've got Amanda from Albany Mountain Homestead with us, and we're going to talk about some healthy eating and lifestyles. Mr. Blue Collar Homestead, hello. Julie Cook, hello. Lurking and listening while I get ready for work. That's good. Glad you came on. Let's see. All right. I'm not sure if Amanda can see the chat good, so if
I can't see it at all.
Oh, she can't see it. So if you have anything, I'll try to read it to her. And if you have a question, please put it in caps so I know it's a question for Amanda. And I'll read that to her. So, real quick, while we're waiting a few more to come in, we've got 11, worked pretty good. But I wanted to show y'all what I've been working on real quick. I got the books that we done a giveaway last Friday night for my birthday, and I got my books in when we got home from work last night. The books were here, so I've got my books in, ready to mail them out. I've got to get them all labeled up and mailed out. But I've also been crocheting. I crocheted some better washcloths. Here's my washcloths I'm gonna send out with soap. And I have been working on something I've never done before. Is sock caps.
Oh, those are cute.
And that's a baby one for the new baby that's coming next month. We got a baby going to be born next month. And that's a little baby one for the baby. Whoop. And then that one's for a Christmas gift. So I'm excited. I'm tickled about that because all I've ever done is blankets and washcloths. So I'm tickled about hats. So anyway, all right.
I've made a couple of hats using a loom knitter. And that kind of makes it easier in a sense because you don't have to keep up with your how many stitches and all. And, I don't know the ins and outs of like decreasing and all that junk. So it's like loom it and then you just kind of, gather up the top and call it a day. So
the first two I made, I had to undo. The first two I made went all crooked and was terrible, and I undone them and started over, and I finally got one to look decent.
I'm very new to crochet, so I'm very basic with what I can do. But speaking on the crochet stuff, and talking about diet and lifestyle eating, lifestyle and eating and all those things, I was just thinking like a few minutes ago, a lot of us, we have trouble with like snacking and just what I call the useless eating, where you're just filling your time kind of thing. And I've found that it is actually helpful if you're doing something, crochet, or if you do other types of crafts with your hands, something to divert that attention away from go to the kitchen and grab something. I think that's beneficial. But I've also seen various things throughout, my years of like, not to eat when you're watching TV, for instance.
Yeah.
Or if you are watching TV and say you're snacking on chips, it's better to take a handful, put it in a bowl, and take that bowl rather than sit in front of the TV with the whole bag of chips, because you're just grab, and before you know it, the whole bag's gone. So just little changes to kind of alter, like, oh, the bowl's gone, no more chips.
Okay, we're getting a little bit
having
buffer. We buffered a little bit there, Amanda.
Sorry, am I back?
Okay. Yep. Yeah, you're back.
Okay, where did I leave off?
About the bowl, and the bowl's empty, so you're done.
Right. There's what was I going at?
Hey, Christy.
Oh, so I've had 4 spine surgeries, and with each one, it has affected my swallowing to some degree. And so that initially kind of changed my eating habits as well, because I couldn't swallow. I mean, if I chewed a piece of chicken or a piece of bacon, it would get stuck like I was choking. So I ended up on soft foods for like a month. And even still today, I mean, my last surgery was in 2015. And even today, I will still choke on things if I don't get it down properly. So it really did kind of alter how I eat. I have to make sure I chew, firmer foods better. But also in that transition, I came upon making my own yogurt. And between having my spine issues, then the throat issues, it dramatically affected like even my activity level. So I had to learn really quick that, if your activity level is super low, you really do have to change your thoughts on eating, which is for me, I eat yogurt twice a day. That is my two main meals, morning and night. And then in the middle, somewhere between, 1 to 5 p.m., depending on the day for me and my family, I will eat my main meal of the day. And I really don't find myself feeling deprived because of eating that yogurt twice a day has really helped me to maintain my weight. Now, if I'm really being careful about my food, the main meals, that's where the weight loss can come in. And and then we talked about.
Hold on, Amanda. Somebody wants to know did you have ACDF surgery?
I've actually had twice. I had 2 disc herniations. One was in 2010 at the C5-6 level. And then 4 years later, the disc below went bad. And both times it was pressing really hard on the spinal cord and caused significant damage. I'm lucky to walk. I'm lucky I can still move my, from the neck down. I'm lucky. But it did a lot of other things, like I'm numb on the left half of my body from chest to toe. And for me, how that ends up feeling is when the colder temperatures come in, I'm in so much pain because my left side feels like it's 10 to 20 degrees colder than the actual temperature. So if we're 40 degrees outside, my leg feels like it's 20 and it hurts. So I stay in bed under my heating blanket. Then there's the other issue of movement. For some reason with my skin, because I also have like a skin sensitivity that went along with this nerve damage, where somebody can so much as just barely touch me, and I feel like somebody just took razor blades to my skin. So for me, like just even walking a city block or walking around a park, that doesn't work because the more I move, the more irritated my skin feels. So that's where my whole eating came into play because of the lack of movement. Every time, if I move a lot, I will suffer. So that's where I had to learn how to curb my eating in such a fashion that it doesn't make me put on weight. I can maintain or I can lose, and that just depends on what I'm eating. Like if I decrease my main meal size and I try to skip and get away from all the processed junk, meaning, the breads, the cereals, the pastas. But if I do I personally could make a meal out of a butternut squash roasted and just throw a little sprinkle of brown sugar or maple syrup on it with a dab of butter, and I'm satisfied. That's a good meal for me. But at the same time, if later on the family and my kids are like dedicated dessert eaters, they never miss dessert. My mom started this like years ago. Go pick up your stuff and you can have dessert. And which, to some degree, I feel like, we all want to indulge to some degree. And so even when my kids were smaller, if we got those Little Debbie 2-pack cakes, they only got one. The other one was for the next day. So teaching limits, but saying you don't have to deny yourself, just set a limit. And I have found I feel like it's really a treat. Because not every day do I want to sit down and eat a brownie, but if I make them and I eat one for the week, I feel good about it, because that's all I'm going to eat, because I tend to want to save the rest for my kids. So that's where that comes in. I'm not just cooking for myself. So a lot of times I just kind of like, oh, that's for them. I'll just leave it be. And
so can you see the screen? Can you see the Blue Collar Homestead said I had that in April, C5 through C7. I still have 2 more discs on the spinal cord that may need another surgery. Can you see that? Okay.
Okay. Well, if we're going to talk spine issues, all I can tell you is, my journey started in 2010. And it has been such a crazy road to figure out the average Joe knowledge and then the doctor knowledge. And I am a person that really strives to find that balance between what we know and what we don't. And I have learned through my own personal experience that once your spinal cord is compromised, you don't have days, you don't have weeks, you don't even have months or years. You have minutes, because as that disc is pushing on your spinal cord, not to sound super scary, but your spinal cord can actually disintegrate itself. So the spinal cord is designed, don't touch me. Nothing touches me. And as crazy as that sounds, so as it's gradually pushing, and see, for me, it pushed so hard that it hit both sides of the spinal cord and it was flattening the spinal cord. So that's where the damage comes in is, there's a difference between touching on one side and then actually putting pressure on both. And that's where a lot of that damage can come in. And what I have learned through all of my experience and research is I had like milder symptoms for about 2 or 3 years. And then like turn of a dime, I would have some bigger, severe issue. And that's when, like, it took me 10 weeks before I got my first spinal surgery. When I had my second disc herniation, I had a hard time even getting a doctor to take my case, because this is where I've had multiple surgeries. Now these doctors are like, you're somebody else's problem, not mine. So now I have to fight doctors to even take care of me.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a long and arduous battle for me. And I could go all day long about spine issues, but I can say this: if you have a doctor, you like your doctor, you trust your doctor, and you have a compressed spinal cord, I would not delay surgery at all. 75% of your spinal surgeries are classified as a failed spinal surgery because the patient doesn't recover. What happens is they are fixing all the bones and making everything structurally okay, but they can't fix the nerve damage. And that's what stays behind the longer you're suffering. And that's where the damage comes in. And so most people, an average Joe, doesn't know that, the longer you wait. And these doctors tend to push it off because, of course, it's your spinal cord. Of course, it's scary to do surgery, and they're going to hope that, physical therapy will help, and they hope that this will help. It doesn't. Once the spinal cord is compromised, you really need to focus on surgery. Fix that first, because then you have the best chance of reversing damage.
Okay, I have a question, probably a dumb question. Several people on here are saying that they have had the same issue and and surgery and everything. And my dumb question is, because I don't know nothing about this stuff, how does that happen? Is that something you get, or because you were hurt? How does that happen?
Well, I think there's a lot at play here. Partly, a lot of us now, even our children, we spend a lot of time like this. Or for me, one of my things was, like, if I was painting my bedroom, I'm one that I can't just hook an extension roller and just go at it and be okay, even though that hurts now. I have to be like really up close, and my head could be like this and like this. And I don't know. I really, not to turn on a sour note, but my father actually hit me on top of my head when I was about 10 or 12 years old. And I think within that same year, I was also in a car accident, which caused whiplash. I was a young child then. So who's to say that, there aren't things that happen from way early on all the way up to now, and that's just really hard to say, because I feel like I'm in this never-ending battle of, do I just sit in bed all day and do nothing so that I protect my neck? Or do I just get up and live my dang life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that stuff can show up years later.
Insurance is insane.
Since you said that, I'm thinking about something that happened to me. I went to a chiropractor, which chiropractor hurt me, and I hadn't gone back. But I did go to a chiropractor. This is years ago. This is like, I'm going to say 10 years ago. I went to a chiropractor, and he done some x-rays, and he was messing with me. And he said something was off. And he said, you have been hit in the back of the head at some time in your life. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. Several years before I was
well, and even according to a chiropractor, childbirth is traumatic. So, being shoved through the birth canal seems to be a traumatic situation. And this all, and I'm sure Boots and Bounty can kind of back me up on this, is you have good doctors and you have bad doctors in every single field. It does not matter. And it is so hard to weed through these doctors. I went to a doctor who was supposed to be the top 100 doctors in America, went to see him about my spine, and he's all, got an MRI, yep, okay, nothing to address, bye. Or when I had my second disc herniation, I had new insurance, went to the doctor, and I'm like, look, I've had new symptoms on top of my old symptoms, and he took an x-ray, and then he says, you need pain management. Took me 5 months to convince pain management to send me in for an MRI. But this doctor did not even listen. And I'm like, I have been here, done that. This is my second disc herniation. And I knew what my body was doing. Oh, yeah. Know all about that too. Pain management. So fun. And that's why I also turned to natural medicines such as wild lettuce. That's why you and I are on the same page with the wild lettuce, because that is literally the first natural or prescribed medicine that actually helps the left side of my body not be in so much pain.
That's good. Good.
And that's why I'm like, hey, you need to know this, because if you can't get medicine from your doctor, because that has gotten extremely difficult these days, and that's a whole nother issue in itself. People are being cut off pain meds. People are being denied pain medicine. Yeah. You can't even walk into an ER. My daughter had somebody she works with in a major car accident, massive, and all they gave her was Tylenol.
Yeah. Yep.
And they try to call this an opioid-free hospital and junk. I'm sorry. We all experience pain in different ways, and when you are in pain, and again, I'm sure Boots and Bounty can vouch what I'm saying, is when your body is in this chaos, your body is not functioning normally. So how can you fight all the other issues that come with the chronic pain if you're constantly dealing with high stress and dealing with all that pain and fighting every day, just to take a shower?
Yeah. Blue Collar Homestead. We have 3 videos that Lee has done on wild lettuce. So the first one has been really a big hit, but he learned more later. So watch one of his last of the 3 videos on wild lettuce, and then go watch some others. Watch several. Don't just watch ours. Watch several. I'll tell you another good one is
Mike Reed.
Who?
I like Mike Reed.
Mike Reed. That's it. Mike Reed. Mike Reed Outdoors.
Now, granted, I want to put up a video like y'all did where you actually show how to make it, because, I don't want to make the tar like you do. I make a syrup out of mine, and I've actually made it where it's tolerable to put it in your mouth. Doesn't taste horrible kind of thing, just by using lemon extract and making like a cough syrup style medicine out of it. And I've got the dang video stuff in my phone, just haven't made the video yet. But I do make this. I have made this syrup. It's very effective. The only thing is I've tried to work also on condensing it a little more concentrated so you don't have to take as much, but also like shipping. I would love to make wild lettuce medicine for others, and I will offer if I have extra to share. And I've always offered, because if I can turn somebody else onto this, I want to help.
Yeah.
And I know Kate.
You can also make a tea out of it. You can dry it and make a tea and different things you can do with it.
It's just a matter of how effective you want it to be.
Yeah. The tea's not as strong at all. What Lee makes is strong. You take a little dip of it on your finger and put it in your mouth, and I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
But you can make a tea. This one lady I watch is called Tennessee Woman. It's
I've seen her.
TN Woman, and she does the wild lettuce a lot, and she does more, I think, tea than anything. But there's different things you can do with it, and the tea's not as strong, so you can go get tea. But what Lee does, I just dip my finger barely in it and take it.
You guys make it like the super concentrated.
Yep, I'm going to bed after that.
Yeah, well, and mine's effective as well, because I am on under the care of a pain management doctor, and I know various pain medications and how they affect the body. Okay. And like I've said before, and even to I've been on Neurontin, Lyrica, gabapentin. In my opinion, those are all junk. I refuse to take anything that makes me foggy and groggy, or even just, stuck in bed all day. Amitriptyline was one of those that was awful for me. It actually sent me into a terrible depression. Suicide depression. So I got off of that. Took me a long time to recover from that. But then there's also your other patients, like our veterans, who not only deal with physical pain, but they also have the emotional pain. And if they're on anything such as a Valium or Xanax or some types of those mental medications, now the doctor tells them, well, you have a choice. You want your Xanax or you want your Vicodin? So now you have to deal, what are you going to, and now, but again, I love researching all this natural medicine, and there's actually been some very good results from the psychedelic mushrooms for veterans, how just like one controlled treatment of a psychedelic mushroom can actually almost eradicate the PTSD.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
you know,
I know a couple of people with kind of different symptoms, say PTSD, other things, um, that use medical marijuana or
yeah,
even CBD or hemp, and seems to help them a lot. So, of course, I think probably the hemp and the CBD are probably not as strong as marijuana, but
well, then
they
for
seem to
me,
help a
I
lot.
have tried. I did try the CBD. Now, maybe I didn't find the right one. Maybe I didn't find the right brand, but I spent $80 on this bottle and got zero results. And something like that just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Whereas I found the wild lettuce in my backyard
Yep. Yep.
free.
Right. Right. Yep.
I utilized it. It works. And I'm like, heck yeah. So,
Yeah.
comfrey. And in fact, yes, I have had recently some very severe, like the last year, I have had like severe pain in my elbows and my knees. For some, I don't know if it's new arthritis or if this is a nerve. I don't know. But I just know it has been extremely painful. And I recently did a comfrey poultice on my elbow. And oh my gosh, I was like 2 days of a comfrey poultice, and that pain in my elbow was significantly better. So again, the more I learn about something natural and if it works and how to make it work, because I know for me, I'm like this rule follower. I want the recipe and I want to know how to do it. Do. Don't just tell me stuff a few herbs in a cup. It just doesn't work like that for me. Whereas I have learned, like with mastering the wild lettuce recipe, for me, I knew I didn't really want that tar thing. I wanted something that was palatable. And so I worked on creating a recipe. And once I get the day, my recipe comes from, okay, we do 1 pound of wild. I put it in the crock pot for a few days and let that simmer and seep. Process, strain it. Then I boil it down to and then I'll add like a cup of sugar and the lemon extract, and I get 2 cups worth of medicine. And I only have to take like a shot glass of it, and I'm good.
Yeah.
And I know it's effective at that level. I can honestly say, this is what I do. This is how much you can take. And take a half a shot glass. If it works for you at that level, then that's all you need.
Right.
But at least I can now break it down and say, this is what I have. This is how I use it. And that works better for me. And I think a lot of people are just so flipping scared because you really can't find a lot of information online about something like wild lettuce. You find a few little articles of like, so-and-so got sick because they ate a bunch of fresh wild lettuce.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then you get people saying, oh, be careful with that. I'm like, oh.
And then because it's called wild opium, some people automatically want to associate it with an illegal drug. Yeah. Well, if you do a little bit further research, you find that was actually used as a substitution for people who could not be on the opium, or say, for instance, you had the people who were addicted to opium, couldn't take that, didn't want to take it for some, it's an effective alternative.
Yeah.
And again, this falls into the category of, I think a lot of our natural medicine, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's been hidden to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's enough to scare people not to try anything natural.
Yeah.
Unless you just go, okay, let me try this. Because of word of mouth, and you're hoping that you're following good advice. That's why I also take great pride into who I talk to, or like when I watch videos, I mean, like Amy Fuel. Okay. been watching her long enough and know that she's been studying herbalism, so I can actually feel confident when I refer someone and say, if you want this information, go see this person. Or, Rain Country, she's another one that I would hot second. But I'll have a friend send me a video of some Joe Blow that she saw 5 seconds ago. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm really going to follow the advice of somebody I haven't been following and trust.
Yeah. Somebody, Mid-South, Rhonda at Mid-South said, we have a tins machine. It works great.
Yes, I have to say it's a good distraction. I mean, and it will help with like a deep muscle massage.
Yeah. And Kathy said something about moringa. I think now moringa has helped David, her husband, or ex-husband partner.
Yeah.
That helps him. So, like, don't you think, like, same with talking about healthy eating and dieting, different things work for different people, I believe.
Oh, absolutely. But also, I have to kind of put a caveat in there that, for instance, there was another homesteader who wanted to do the whole elderberry thing, and that because her kid still got sick, she's all, it doesn't work.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I'm going to tell you now that if used as a preventative, elderberry does work. I have been using elderberry on my children since 2016. And I get a bottle of like elderberry juice called Ibotta. You can get it from Kroger for like $8 a bottle. I add 1 cup of that juice to our grape juice. I just get the little grape juice concentrate, make it up as normal, add a cup of elderberry, and my kids drink like a cup of juice every single day. Since 2016, every single time my kids have gotten sick, which is, I want to say, less than once or twice a year, it lasts no more than 24 to 36 hours. Whatever it is, it's a fever, it's gone. If it, the one thing that I was looking for to help with is the stomach flu, because our house was getting hit with the stomach flu every 3 years, like clockwork. And I come across Pinterest saying, oh, grape juice is good for the stomach bug. And then I read the benefits of the elderberry. And I'm like, you know what? Let's try both. And like I said, I've been doing this since 2016, and every single thing, I mean, my kids have hardly been sick. Even my youngest, who's like 7, and your younger ones bring home everything. But by doing this juice religiously, now I cut it off during summer break, or I'll cut it off during holiday breaks just to give their bodies a break from it. Because, I mean, we all get like, can be adapted, I guess. And I don't know if that works for every type of, whether it be, medicinal or, prescribed, because some people do build, I'm trying to think of the word, resistance, to a medication. Like, you were taking 10 milligrams this year, and next year you need 15 to get the same effect that you got out of 10.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I can honestly say now, since we've been doing that elderberry grape juice thing, the 1 year that I think we might have had some sort of stomach bug in our house, again, like one person I think had diarrhea for 2 days. Another person threw up once and they were done. So, and it was all in the matter of like a week. But I would not back this up if I didn't have the personal experience with it. And it took a long time. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2016, and I really didn't say a lot because I was kind of like, I had to wait and see if this really worked, because I didn't want to push something that I know nothing about, didn't have the personal experience with.
Right.
And So yeah, so back to the whole different things work for different people. I say yes, but also, like I said, like with even the wild lettuce, like the medicine I make, if you take a half a teaspoon and get zero effect, and then you turn around and say it doesn't work.
Right.
But let's say if you took a tablespoon or a shot glass and you did get effect or relief. So my caveat is you have to try it in different ways and different strengths before you completely write it off.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
So that's just my caveat. Like I said, even with the CBD, my experience with CBD, I've tried a couple of different things. And to me, it was a huge expense that I can't afford, and it didn't do the job. And also, there's also that factor for me. Let me turn this and see if it gets better or worse. Nope. Oh, God. Hang on. There we go. The sun. I'm trying to get in the shady spot. Sorry. For me, it also factors in, like, how much does it cost? I can't, for me, I cannot feasibly spend hundreds of dollars per week on ineffective medicine. So, and then, so it depends. And like I said, I was willing to try the wild lettuce because I actually found it.
Yeah.
And I'm willing, if anybody here wants wild lettuce seeds, email me. I'm happy to send seed.
There you go.
And, I can't promise it'll grow, but I am happy to share seed with anybody who wants some.
There you go. We have sent seeds to several people that had asked. We've mailed seeds to a few people. We didn't save a bunch because it grows all over the place here. So we had to wait until there were seeds to send them, because we don't really collect them because it grows all over the place here. So we had to wait until we could collect some to send them to the people. So email her. She said, email her and let her know you want some. On the CBD, I took the CBD for anxiety. I was having anxiety attacks, and somebody told me to try the CBD. That was the first time I ever tried it. And it did work at first for the anxiety. I'm not talking about pain or anything. The anxiety. The CBD worked at first. And then I kind of found where I had to kind of go more and then more. And I think that happens with a lot of stuff too. You have to keep increasing. Yeah. So then I kind of got off of it because I didn't want to just keep going higher and higher for it to work. So I got off of it and I haven't been taking it. Now, if I feel myself start getting anxious again or, anxiety again, I will take a little. But by doing that, now a lower dose works again. So,
have you tried valerian?
No.
Because I was watching, I don't know if anybody here watched Green Greg's, but he was doing a live stream with a woman last night, and I kind of picked up on valerian is actually the derivative of Valium. It was like the original Valium. Now, how concentrated or whatever, I don't know those details. I do know that like some people who take valerian could possibly have like super vivid dreams, which I'm one of those. So I just kind of, I'm good. Don't need that. But then the wild lettuce also has, like, in my opinion, an extremely calming, just kind of like slow down effect. Now, I know like in the dose that you make it, you say, if I take this, I'm going to bed. Whereas for me, with the dosing that I have, I can almost like stay awake through it and still semi-function. I'm just calm and slow, not like foggy slow. I can still remember everything that's going on. I'm not, out of my head, but it definitely feels like it has more of that calming effect on it. So
I have a low tolerance. Like Tylenol and put me to sleep. I have a low tolerance of things like that.
Okay. And see, so you probably, with your wild lettuce, it's probably even too concentrated for you.
Yeah. That's why I just barely dip my finger. I just barely dip my finger in it and lick my finger, and I'm done.
Yeah. You could probably use a significantly less dose than what you're getting there. But yeah, I mean, I get the point how he makes it, because I'm sure that's for Lee, right? Does that also help with his what's that shaking?
I think that it does. We've not really paid that much attention to that, but he usually takes it at night right before he goes to bed too. So
did you say what did you say his shaking was related?
It's gosh.
You didn't say it was like MS, right?
No, it's not. It's tremors, hereditary tremors is what they call it. It's a type of Tourette's. It's called hereditary tremors, and it's kind of a type of Tourette's that.
Yeah, I would try to take notice, see if that wild lettuce kind of slows that down at all.
Yeah. I'm sure it does, but he goes to bed. We usually take it right before we go to bed. So that.
See, I don't always go right to bed when I take mine. When I take my wild lettuce, it might take 20 minutes, but still there's been times where I'll stay awake beyond that. But I can definitely tell that difference. Like with my left side, the issues that I've had with that, I almost want to relate it to like a restless leg type pain, where my leg just wants to jump and move and do its thing, and it's painful, and it'll wake me out of my sleep. And I take that wild lettuce, and suddenly, okay, my leg isn't doing that so much. Was it funny? Central tremor.
That's too funny. Oh, me. Let's see. I was reading something before that I wanted to show. Yeah, Christy Betts said she goes immediately to sleep with wild lettuce too. Gossmania says,
"Oh, hi, Georgia.
I have been out of commission for 3 weeks with a bad tooth. Got it pulled. The pain, even Tylenol wouldn't work. I need to learn more about herbal remedies. I did use clove oil when it all started."
Did you try the tea bag, Jerusha? I have heard you could put a tea bag, but I'm also wondering if she hasn't lost that plug in the socket. I know the one time, well, I've had 2 teeth pulled, and both times I kept that cotton on that space all the time, except for when I ate. And I did not deal with any sort of dry socket. Yes, toothache plant. I've heard good things about that. You kind of get like a tingly feeling in your mouth. I've actually been growing it. So if Jerusha wants me to send some, I could probably send her some.
I agree.
Because I know for me, a lot of things that there's a lot of things I want to try. But again, because of cost, I mean, a 1 pound bag of elderberry is $20. I just bought, even though I have comfrey growing in my own yard, I still bought more comfrey so I can make that salve for my painful elbow. Because it's like, dang it. I mean, once you find something that works, but then also I try to strive and like get seed, put it in my yard. And that was the other thing about, I was telling you, Teresa, about sending seeds to people. A lot of times people are just so, they lack confidence with the identification.
Right.
So if you can buy the seed and actually grow it, which would be me. I'm one of those people, like, I'll buy the seed. That's why, like, I have specific locations for things so that I know when, because earlier this year I had actually planted some marshmallow, and somehow my little sticker tag ended up missing. And I completely forgot what this plant was. And all of a sudden it took off. And once it started blooming, then it was like, oh yeah, that's the marshmallow. So,
we have that wild here too. Like we moved some to our property, but right down the road is the river bottoms. It grows all over the river bottoms. So we moved some to our property so that we would have it ourselves. Some marshmallow I'm talking about now. But yeah, the people that asked me for wild lettuce seeds was because they were afraid they couldn't identify it and asked
right.
if we would send some.
And that's my biggest thing. I really wish I could come and hang out with somebody who could walk me through and identify. That's that video I actually sent you recently.
Yeah.
I sent it to a few people because there was like bits and pieces in there that I was picking up on the information. Just like I had picked up how star anise has that same chemical compound as the sweet gum trees.
For the Tamiflu.
For the Tamiflu.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't find sweet gum around to save my life, but I could find a very large container of the star anise, but I think the star anise has a higher concentration.
Yes.
I believe he said it was like 7% instead of the sweet gum has like 3%.
Yes.
So I went ahead and tinctured up some star anise here because I don't have access to those green, sweet gums.
If it's a nerve, it will be painful for a long time.
Yeah.
And then she says, also into my cheek muscle where they gave me the shot. I was actually allergic and had to get on a steroid. Wow. You poor dear. Whew. Sounds like you've been through a lot with that.
Yeah, I'm wondering, how well did you know the dentist, Jerusha? Because I know she didn't really have a dentist to go to. And I actually go to a dentist in Oklahoma. She takes cash. I mean, I had to have a tooth done and, called my kid's dentist office. And they're all like, yeah, it's like $80 to walk in the door to have the doctor just look at my tooth. I was told about this dentist in Oklahoma, and it's like, call, set up an appointment. You walk in, she pulled your tooth, $75 out the door. I'm like, hey, I went. And she's been my dentist since because she does take cash. Because, to me, for what I have paid in cash to this dentist, more than pays for itself just in insurance deductibles. It's insane. So that's why we don't have dental insurance, so to speak. But it was worth it because I'm spending less money going to her when I need to be there than I am spending all that money on deductibles all year long.
Yeah.
And then you still have to pay to get the work done.
Yeah. We didn't have insurance for about 3 years because my insurance got ridiculous. And then I was like, okay, I never go to the doctor anyway. Why am I even doing this? I never go to the doctor. But then I started having some complications here and there. And I was like, okay, I need insurance again just in case.
Well, see, and my husband.
And I still don't go to the doctor.
My husband, we've been married 21 years, and I swear I count on one hand how many times this man's been to the doctor and how many times he's ever been on an antibiotic. Okay, he never needs insurance. Me, on the other hand, like 4 spine surgeries, elbow surgeries, 5 kids. Yeah, it's like, geez. Then I had gallbladder hernia. So, geez, I've been a mess. But yeah, insurance was getting extremely insane, especially for us in Texas. I mean, we were paying a $900 premium a month for our family of 6. And then you had like a $3,000 deductible to meet before you could even get insurance to kick in and pay anything. It's like,
yeah.
So you go to one doctor. I went to one doctor and he's like, oh yeah, it's like $200. Go to another doctor, it's $150. Nobody has a set price.
Yeah.
You walk in, it's like, okay, so what am I going to have to pay today? That is true. And I read, there was a documentary somewhere that I had watched that had talked about root canals. That anybody who has had root canals is like, well, let's say about 99% of the cancer patients have had root canals
Wow.
on the same side as the cancer.
Oh, wow. Wow. I didn't know that. I've heard that before.
From what I'm understanding about it is leaving the bad tooth there. They're just filling it and leaving the bad tooth in there. And from what I'm getting about it is that bad tooth kind of blocks the circulation of everything. So it's kind of interrupting your body's natural processes by leaving that bad tooth in there. That's my understanding of it. I don't really remember all the details, but there was like a documentary, I think, on Netflix, which I find a lot of these things very interesting. You have to question them, but at the same time, 99% of cancer patients have a root canal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I did not know that. I'm glad I never had root canals. I had one they started on, but they hurt me so bad I wouldn't finish it. And I said, no, pull it out. Pull it out. I'm not going through anymore. Pull it out. And ever since then, if anybody said root canal, I said, nope, pull it out.
Right.
So I've not ever
That's where I'm at too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, never mind, just pull it. We're done.
Yep. That was painful. That's way back. So they may do better now, but forget it.
Well, I'm really glad we got to touch on a lot of different topics because I mean, to me, it was important to get that message across of, just trying various things and keep trying until you find what works for you.
Right. On anything.
But I do want to say,
and on losing weight and healthy eating and medicine and
it all factors in.
I think because we're all so different and we all have so different of problems that are also connected to another problem maybe that we have to work around and see what works best for you. Bootsy Bounty said yarrow poultice will fix tooth abscesses.
Well, I've got yarrow as well, so I
do too. I just got some. I've had several that died out. I just got some more yesterday, or it was Monday. So thank you so much for being on here. Listen,
thank you for having me.
I loved this conversation. We didn't do healthy eating so much.
A little bit.
This was great. I loved it. Gosh, I could talk about this all day long. I'm sure the rest
there's so many things. I mean, it honestly, it's so overwhelming to when you start this journey, which, 2015 is when my kind of red flags started going off about the state our world was starting to head toward. It felt very conflicted to me. And so we moved to Arkansas in 2016. And right before I moved to Arkansas, I found Deep South Homestead. And then I found Rain Country. And then I find this other channel and this other channel. And the more I have followed, and then, I take something that they say and then I'll go and research it. And then it's like, the more you know, it feels so overwhelming because there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, bring it down to what you can control in your immediate circumstance.
Yeah.
If you can grow your own food, if you can make your own medicine, if you can rely less on everything else.
Yeah. You can't do it all at one time. You have to take it
step by step. No, absolutely not. I mean, I do not grow enough food to last my family the whole year by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But, just learning various things from that growing, like, in my opinion, Cherokee Trail of Tear Bean. To me, that is like the ultimate dual purpose bean plant, because you can use the younger beans like a green bean. Then later on, if they get too big or overgrown, they turn into a black bean.
I didn't know that.
So then you can use it as you would a black bean. So now you've got two purposes out of one plant.
Yeah.
Or like the Cherokee tan pumpkin from Danny and Wanda.
I have that.
I've grown spaghetti squash. I've grown the butternut squashes. I've grown various squashes like the, zucchinis and all that. And then I grew Cherokee tan. Well, let's say the squash bugs didn't touch my Cherokee tan. Now they were planted in a whole different section of my yard, but I had 0 squash bugs. I had 0 bug pressure on my Cherokee tan, where every other squash I've grown, you get the dang squash bugs all over them.
Yeah.
So just various things. I mean, there's just so much to absorb.
We did have some squash bugs on our Cherokee tan pumpkins, but they did not destroy the plant. We've got 10 or 12 up there ready to pick that I need. Lee just told me this. Lee just told me this morning, you need to go up there and check those Cherokee tan pumpkins. They might be ready to cut.
Yeah.
And, but they did have some of the squash bugs from the squash come over and got on them, but they did not destroy the plants. They still done okay, and they're about ready right now. So,
well, I think the biggest factor for squash plants is you do have to grow them on the ground, because it doesn't matter if it's a butternut squash or any other type of squash. They put down roots as they go along.
Yeah.
So if one part of your squash plant gets attacked and it dies, as long as it's got more roots somewhere, that plant's going to survive. You grow it on a trellis, once it's attacked at base level, you're done.
Right.
And that's one thing you just got to give the squash a ground.
Yeah.
And it will be okay. I had squash bugs all over my my butternuts, but as long as I treated the bulk of them and got most of them out of the way, then I was able to control. And then my squash plants were still in a survive mode where they could still produce later as they recovered. But yes, I mean, there's your head could explode for all the things that you want to know, and you can't know enough. You just can't. And I mean, it's like, it just doesn't stop. But I think as long as you're willing to learn and willing to try, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Listen, again, I thank you for being on here. There's been a lot of comments, very interesting comments. I couldn't get them all on the screen, so you might want to go back and check some of them out later when it uploads right, and check some of these comments out, because people have talked back and forth and had a lot of good comments.
That's good.
I couldn't get them all up or read them all. So
that's fine. That's fine. That's the whole point, though, is sharing what we know.
Yep.
And what works and what,
you have been awesome. I want you to come back on again sometime, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Maybe next time we'll talk more about healthy eating.
All right.
I loved it. But this was great. I loved this. I think everybody did. I think that's why there was so many good comments. Everybody loved it.
Great.
So thank you. Thank everybody for being here. And next week, we've got Nancy with Our Treasured Home. So y'all come back, check us out. Tomorrow night, me and Leah will be on.
All right. Look forward to it.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.